almost hit the record button, and guess what happened?
What happened?
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Well, you don't have to guess. You were sitting here.
Right.
Wait, can I guess?
Oh, yeah.
The power went out.
Oh, that's right. The power went out.
Oh, my God.
Because we're in a windstorm. Today is March 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All day.
The year of our Lord.
Yeah, and the wind is blowing like crazy up here in Taylorsville. Is that right?
It is blowing like crazy. It's a great day to fly a kite, if you don't mind losing a kite.
Yeah.
There's 4,225 homes out of power, without power right now.
4,245 homes out of power. So we are coming to you live in mono
A week and a half ago.
on a laptop microphone here in our 6-foot studio.
But
American Fork.
But because today we're like handicapped slightly, it's only the 5-foot studio.
Oh, don't make any handicap jokes, because our
there is
first
none.
story is going to be horrible.
Okay, I will zip my lips on the handicap jokes.
Horrible. This is American Forked, the one place where you can go to get your news and help us fix America by talking about the issues that divide us. Right?
Yes, that's what we do.
That's what I always say. Anyway, we're gonna. I don't even want to say this story. It's so
But you will anyway.
horrible.
Okay, next story then.
No, we have to.
Oh, okay, so you just talked yourself
Pretty
back
much
into
it's
it.
like the only thing going on. Oh, hang on. I realized my
It's just in.
iPad doesn't have internet, so I gotta connect it to my phone also.
Oh, yeah. I just got to say that we must really love podcasting and love the listener. I'm talking to you,
We're
Mom.
willing to podcast in the dark.
It was literally, we got a flashlight here and the monitor, and we're like listening to the wind blowing outside, recording over a laptop. I hope it sounds like crap too.
It's all for you, listener. We go to great lengths to make you happy.
Yep.
Right?
We have our multi-million-dollar studio, and we're sitting around a $200 iMac. Is that how much they cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Good.
Yeah, I wish they cost that much. It was like $300 to fix this one because
You poured water all over
I poured
it.
water all over it. So
They're not waterproof. Okay, did you connect your phone to the internet?
let's find out. Oh, something's moving. There it goes. Oh, this is yucky. But here we go. Hold your breath, everyone. American Fork caregiver arrested on sexual abuse charges against disabled patient.
Why are you bringing this up?
A caregiver at a government facility in American Fork, which we know as the Developmental Center,
Yep.
up on the hill by the temple.
Yep. It was there way before the temple,
Because
too.
Jake likes to pinpoint
Yeah.
addresses.
So people know where it's at.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake.
What are the lat long of that?
Anyway, the suspect is a 20-year-old. I'm not even going to say his name. I feel bad for him almost as much as the victim.
Is this an employee?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's an employee, apparently. My impression is that they came in the bathroom and he was performing anal sex on the other person.
Couldn't we just talk about, like, I don't know, when trash day is in American Fork?
This was like the top story
In whose book?
for American Fork.
Seems like the bottom story to me.
when you Googled American Fork.
Seems like the bottom. Oh, I did not mean that.
Yeah,
bottom story.
the
That was
victim
not
is the
what I
victim at
meant.
the victim has a severe intellectual disability, autism spectrum disorder, and seizure disorder, and is nonverbal. So horrible. My brother actually works there. I was going to reach out to him and be like, so, do you know this dick or what? But
And he's like, yeah, I know it well.
yeah.
Okay, but listen,
But
my two of my siblings worked there.
Uh-huh.
One worked at like the I don't know if you call it like the prison section of it, where it's like people that are actually a danger to other people and they have to lock them up and stuff. That was Jason. He worked there for a number of years, and the stories he had were crazy. And then Kara worked there, and she was working with people that were like literally couldn't take care of themselves in the slightest. Like barely can breathe and can't eat themselves, can't do anything else, right? So she was taking care of like the total opposite end of that spectrum of handicap. And we volunteered there a lot too, huh?
Yeah.
I remember going
for
to
like church activities. Yeah.
I actually loved it. It actually
Very
grew,
memorable experience.
It grew, the people grew on me slightly, and it taught me compassion and understanding of people that were different. But it's an interesting place because it's also very sad too at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can hear the wind blowing in the background.
Oh, you can?
We're hunkering down here. Yeah, it's a bummer. They said that they immediately
shot him in the back of the head.
Put the employee on leave and contacted the police and contacted the victim's parents. I can't imagine being the parents of that child and getting that call. Like,
how old was he?
The
patient.
The victim or patient, I don't think it says. It just explained that they were kind of semi-functioning, like I said. But the perpetrator is 20 years old.
Wow.
So
this is our "They Need Jesus" segment.
Yeah.
He's literally across the street.
I mean, he probably needed some help himself, I'm guessing, to go over that. Yeah, it's just, ugh.
Thanks, Phil.
Why do we even bring that
Phil.
story
It's a
up?
downer.
You literally...
I brought us way down here at the beginning.
This is literally your
The best way to have
show.
a good podcast is start on a low note.
Yeah.
Anything you mention after that.
Slowly ramp up. I'm sure... You know what?
I think it's because we don't have power. I'm like, well, might as well.
Leah, let's share the
depressing
depressing stories.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Are any of your stories scary today? I hope not.
So one is a little bit scary.
That corner is looking super dark.
If you're in real estate, it'll be scary.
Oh, okay.
So, on the child abuse, well, we don't know if this is a child, but kind of. Maybe
mentally a child.
Could have been a child.
And that would be interesting.
Yeah, so we talked about this a while back. I think it was our Skinwalker episode where we went out to Skinwalker Ranch. Mm-hmm. We talked about how Utah had a law where clergy didn't have to report sexual abuse of minors. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of talking about...
Are you sure?
I think so. We're talking about maybe some pros and cons to such an idea. Don't you remember that?
I think it's mostly cons, but go on, yeah.
I disagreed slightly.
I don't remember that episode.
Oh, and the reason I disagreed is if you make it mandatory, my theory is nobody's going to report.
Episode 89.
Oh, that's true.
And so if it's not mandatory, in theory, some people will maybe come forward to their bishop or pastor and maybe actually get help for them and the victims, in theory. Now, you have to get over the hurdle of, well, that also means that some bishops are going to find out about this stuff and not report it. And that is a horrible idea and concept. I don't know. I think I said before, I don't actually know if it would be helpful one way or not. It doesn't matter anymore, though, because the Utah State Legislature just made it mandatory. Or no, not mandatory. Wait, I guess I better read this.
Okay, we'll give you like 7 or 8 minutes. Just go ahead.
Utah faith leaders who learn about ongoing child abuse from a perpetrator during a religious confession will be able to alert police without fear of legal ramifications. Okay, so they didn't make it mandatory, but they did give them a legal immunity. So, like, if someone goes to their bishop and reports this, and then their bishop calls the police, they can't now sue their bishop because they
so
were
no
under the
legal
impression.
no legal ramifications against the bishop who reported it.
Which, I don't know. I didn't know there were any anyway. That seems kind of dumb.
Well, I guess there could be grounds of this was, in private.
Well, there's
it's a private discussion and you reported something that
But there's also like lawyer, whatever it's called, like protection when you have a conversation with a lawyer, right? There's a similar thing that is in America, not just Utah, but like the United States has certain laws.
Patient privacy or
it's
whatever.
Patient privacy, parishioner rights or something. I can't remember what it is, but it's like if you go and talk to your pastor, your bishop, your person, there's some degree of protection there. So like if you confess to robbing a bank, for example, or if you confess to running over your neighbor's dog or whatever, certain things that could get you in trouble legally, if you confess them to your pastor, they don't have to report it and nobody really knows about it. Which you can, I'm sure there's many varying opinions about that. But I always thought that, and I have some knowledge of this, I always thought that anything that had to do with murder or sex with a minor had to be reported, period.
So, according to the American Bar Association...
Okay, so now we're talking alcohol?
Yeah. It says, absent client consent, an attorney may not report information about suspected child abuse learned during a representation unless the lawyer believes it necessary to prevent reasonably certain death or substantial bodily harm.
But that's a lawyer.
In which the lawyer must report it. So even if a client confesses to a lawyer that they sexually abused a child, they cannot report it, is what this is saying. Unless they think
there's
unless they're
harm
reasonably
and danger.
certain, right, that they're going to be killed, like the victim is, like if they're
or
like
harm.
Yeah, I did sex abuse and now I'm going to kill them.
Sex abuse.
I did the sex abuse.
I did the abuse. So like one situation would be like, I come to you as my lawyer, and I say, in 1977, I did the sex abuse.
Yeah.
The lawyer may not have to do anything because like that's a long time ago,
Right.
And not even because of limitations. It's
foreseeable
just like
They
Right.
cannot do anything.
right. But then if someone was like, "Hey, last week I blah 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 did the sex abuse," then it's like, well, yeah, we need to probably report that because if this continues, then there's bodily harm potentially and blah
Yeah.
blah blah.
You still live with the person. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm still a little torn on this, and
I don't know why. Seems
well,
pretty
I explained it because for clergy, I'm saying I'm like, and I guess we would. It'd be better to like do some actual research if we could and find out, like, interview clergy and be like, has anyone reported to you, and were you able to actually like help in any way?
Yeah.
Like, were you able to get the child out of the situation, or make it stop, or help the person seek counseling, or go to the police, or anything like that? And if there's a reasonable percentage of that actually happening, then I would say it might
Fine.
be,
Yeah.
even though it's bad in one way, it could be helping in another. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe that almost never happens, and so it's better that everyone across the board mandatorily report child sex abuse.
Interesting.
I don't know.
You know, it would solve all of it.
Nobody
doing the
abusing
sex abuse.
children.
Nobody doing the sex abuse.
Yeah.
That would solve it.
Yeah.
However, just immediate death sentence. Like no jury.
Yes.
Not just if there's judge, jury, executioner.
Every bishop's office has
Judge Dredd.
has a hangman's noose.
Hell yes. Just murder them right away. And be like, in America, children are protected.
When everyone's born, they get
Before you say anything, put this noose around your neck and then tell me.
when everyone's born, they get a Mission Impossible chip stuck in their brain from Philip Seymour Hoffman. And and it just kind of watches you, but it only watches for child sex abuse. So if you watch it on the internet, boom,
Dead.
If you do it in real life, dead.
Yeah.
And the algorithm's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to confuse,
No,
like
it'll know,
when you're
it
hitting
knows.
your kids. or
Every
whatever.
adult looks
Yeah.
like an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no dwarfism on the planet. That would be the worst if that was like your thing. You'd die so many times. You would die so many times.
You'd have all the deaths.
Your eyes would be like, this person is 3'9". You're dead.
Yeah. You have to apologize. My normal wheezing laughs are now like gurgly coughs.
Asbestos laughs.
Yeah,
See,
asbestos.
this is why we try to get Amber.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know
Her
why?
voice is a
Because
lot
I was
more
in a
smooth.
hotel. Did I say this last time? I was in a hotel. And I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, it smells like someone is smoking a cigarette right in my face. And I like even pounded on the wall. Like, I'm like, where's that coming from? But somebody like smoked directly into my room. And then I got cancer and now I'm coughing.
A ghost came in and smoked. It was the ghost of the hotel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a cigarette. That's cigar weed.
So, no, I get plenty of that too.
I hate that.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah. you would.
I always wonder, I'm like, don't you know it's like a $200 fine? But maybe they don't care. And I don't know, how do they prove that? I guess the maid comes in and she's like, oh yeah, they smoked in here. It's obvious because it smells like smoke.
No, you just leave a joint and you're like, for the maid. And then
Oh,
she
yeah.
just doesn't report you.
Yeah.
She just puts a little extra Febreze on, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe they just leave a tip in the... And then she's like, I keep saying she, that's very sexist, but
Yeah, can you-
I
can
go
you-
to a
can we
lot of
re-record
hotels
this?
and I only ever see
They're all females.
female,
Wow. Phil.
what do you call it?
Uh-huh.
Because they're better at cleaning. than
Hotel
men.
maids.
They're so much
Okay.
better at cleaning
You
than men.
guys.
Yeah.
You guys are doing the offense.
Doing the
offensive.
racism.
You're-
Doing the sexism.
You're doing the binary thing.
the sexist.
Anyway,
true, we don't
when
know how
I
they identify.
when I was forming that story in my mind just barely, I for some reason thought that Utah made it mandatory, but after reading it briefly again, they've just changed it so that they're immune if they do report. Which I don't know why they weren't always. Everybody always everywhere should be immune from prosecution.
Yeah,
for
there should be
reporting.
there should be no
child
punishment
abuse.
for someone who reports an illegal activity.
Although I kind of take that back a little, because what if somebody like nefariously accuses someone else of child sex abuse, like a politician, let's say?
Or you break up with a girl and she's like, yeah, you should have seen what she did to my nephew, or he did, you know what I mean, or whatever. And you're
something
like,
that.
holy cow.
Like I would, if someone did that to me, I would want to sue the pants off them.
okay, you don't say that. Don't say the pants off
Keep
them.
their pants on.
I would want to sue them
With their pants
really
on.
good.
Real well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I say I would want to, but I wouldn't have the money. But
You better call Saul.
yeah, I'd call Saul up and give him some drug deals or something. So anyway, that's what's going on in Utah.
Okay, I'm so excited for your next story because I know it's going to be a total like uplifting spiritual.
like best dessert in Utah.
I'm
the
gonna
best
feel
dessert in
wonderful after this next one.
Nope, we're going straight to Donald Trump.
Okay.
Everyone's favorite. He's in the news a lot lately. You probably know why.
I don't actually. I am so sick and tired of the election already.
So he's had a couple court cases, as we know.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
And pretty much all of them have had pretty major developments rather recently. But the biggest one is his fraud case, in which the state of New York is alleged that he committed fraud by overvaluing his properties when he
At Mar-a-Lago
when he
and stuff.
filed for bank loans.
Okay.
And I've talked about this before, but this is pretty much, to my understanding, the exact thing that happened. He said, "Oh, my properties are worth like $10 billion," and the
Most
banks
expensive property.
and the banks were like, "Okay, let's look at it." And they came back and were like, "We really think they're worth like $1.5 billion." And then they gave him a loan.
Yeah.
Well, New York State is saying that was fraud because he overvalued them so much. Even though they came up with their own evaluation and gave him the loan based on
Based off
that.
theirs, not off his.
And he paid the loans. They had no problem. They were not a part of this case in any way. New York has... Anyway, the judge, by himself, decided that Trump was guilty and just fined him $450 million dollars.
That he's going to have to pay back to the bank, right? Because they're the victims here?
No.
Oh.
Not
Who does
to
he
the
have
banks,
to pay it to?
To the state of New York.
Why?
Because it's like a fine. Like, we're fining you this. You
For
pay
fraud.
it to the state for fraud.
This is
And
just a joke.
they're barring him from doing business in Utah for 3 years.
In New York.
In New York. Sorry, did I say Utah? What did I say?
You
I
said
don't think
Utah.
you said Utah.
Oh.
You did.
Did he?
Yeah, it's actually recorded.
Oh, well,
So
we
let's
have
go
no way of
back.
we have no way of looking at it.
Yeah, there's no way of knowing, but we'll just say you said New York.
Yeah.
Listeners, why don't you call into our voicemail?
This
and
is
tell
live.
us what you said.
Anyway, it's pretty wild. Some people have commented on it. One guy in particular you may recognize if you're a fan of the show, Shark Tank.
Kevin,
Bacon.
Mr. Wonderful.
Oh. What about him?
I'm going to show you.
Oh. Are you going to play a
You
video?
had an
I'm going
interview
to play a
with
video
CNN.
I hope
my-
there's an ad.
from my iPad.
This
There
is the
an ad.
CNN interview.
Turn it up way loud.
Roughly 37% of taxpayers.
There's an ad, but my thing is making it not work.
See how a TurboTax.
But wait,
TurboTax ad.
That's me.
Where is that ad?
okay, here it is. Oh, really, Phil?
It's muted.
Because the only people we prosecute are people like Donald Trump who don't behave well.
Well, let's back
Don't
up
be
here.
scared. I don't think this. I don't think this
editing
case
for you,
is about
Jeff.
Trump anymore at all. Because you heard the governor of New York come out yesterday and say, look, everybody, don't be scared about doing business in New York because the only people we prosecute are people like Donald Trump who don't behave well. That didn't go over very well with the investment community because we're all asking each other, who's next? This was a victimless crime. Nobody lost any money. And a judge out of nowhere put on a $355 million penalty. I mean, who's next? So if you
well,
think
Kevin,
about
before I don't want to cut you off, but I
But you
hear
just
about
did.
the so-called victimless crimes, but the laws on the books, falsification of business records in second degree, issuing false financial statements, insurance fraud, conspiracy, and all these different aspects of it, those are actual crimes. I take it your point is that these should not have been prosecuted?
Well, my point is there's never been a case like this in 75 years. Everything you just listed off is done by every real estate developer everywhere on earth in every city. This has never, ever been prosecuted. But here's the real point that people in New York should concern themselves with. You can put your money anywhere. I'm a real estate developer. Do you think there's a chance I would ever take a chance on New York again? New York is turning itself into a flyover state.
That's such a good point. Gosh, that guy is wonderful.
He's so Mr. Wonderful.
He's so Mr. Wonderful. But like,
Golf putt, normal distribution.
what are you doing, Phil?
Increased standard deviation for a wider angular strike.
Where's that coming from?
See the angles others don't? See for yourself, genius.
Oh, there it is. I thought I
Tasty
got
trade.
out of that. All right.
he has such a good point. Like, it's a common problem. Like, overvaluing, undervaluing. My house that I sold changed $100,000. Do I think it was worth it at all? Absolutely not. And I'll bet you it wasn't worth it. But for that 1 month or 2 months or whatever, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was worth that. So it's like a fluctuating thing all the time. Anyway, I haven't been following this, but that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it has been ridiculous as far as I could follow it, and I think a lot of experts in the field are saying it's ridiculous. Now you go to I wish Tyler was here. I invited him because he kind of had this idea I hate Trump, so whatever we have to do, that's fine. But if you leave like a scorched earth in your economy to get one guy out of office or to break him financially because you don't like him, That seems like a really dumb thing to do, because the result of this could be that New York suffers. Like, a lot of people are like, whoa, New York is cherry picking people they don't like and going after them.
Yeah.
Based on these arcane laws and rules that everyone everywhere is guilty of. So it's like, whoa. It'd kind of be like Utah, maybe, I don't know if there's a law on this, like, on the books or whatever, but like if you speed or if you get, like, I don't know, like, just pick something that everybody does. Not me, I don't ever speed and would never admit to it openly on the air, but
Okay.
I assume most people speed.
Everybody drives fast.
And when they do, they're breaking the law, but nobody, like,
You're not going
gets
to prison
the
for that.
maximum penalty,
Right.
like on the first time,
Like,
ever. I don't know.
Taking that scenario, so like if speeding, for example,
Right.
there's a certain speed, and I can't remember if it's 20 miles per hour over or double the speed limit, but there's a certain speed where it classifies as reckless driving. You can go to jail for it, and you can get fines. You can get your car impounded. It's pretty serious. Okay?
But most of the time, you don't go to jail on your first offense.
Right. So here's my point. So people get pulled over all the time going 20 over. I guarantee it. 65 miles per hour. You only have to go 85. Modern cars go 85 very well. So what I'm saying is people, I'm sure, get pulled over all the time. They probably won't go to jail. They probably won't have their car impounded. They'll get a hefty fine, whatever. They're not prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Yeah.
Now, in a situation where you have 350 race car guys, like street racers with rice burners and classic cars, showing off their cars, and somebody goes 20 over and they pull them over, they might try to make an example, they being the cops, might try and make an example out of that one person that gets caught, not because of that person necessarily, but to try and send a message out to the 200 or 300 people at this car meet, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what's happening with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is trying to do things, and I'm not even saying that I agree with him or not, but he's trying to do things. He wants certain ideas to come across, and whoever is against him, whoever the cops are in this scenario, are trying to send a message, not just to Donald Trump, but anybody else around him, to go, if you support any of him or his ideas, we're going to, pull never mind, that's a bad joke. We're going to be really mean to you, and we're going to be bad. I was going to say we're going to pull a developmental center on you, but
he didn't say that.
I didn't say that because I knew it was a bad joke. So
that is a bad.
Well, there are a lot of. Have you heard there's a lot of truckers who have vowed to not do any deliveries of products into New York?
I did hear they were thinking about that, but it sounded like that kind of fizzled out. It really will be what I think will be the straw that breaks the camel's back is if this actually goes through. So right now, as we're recording this, I think Donald Trump is trying to secure bonds for his judgment.
Gold bond?
Yeah.
The powder?
Meaning like
James
he'll
Bond?
find a company that will put up that the company will pretty much vouch to the court. Like, yes, we will pay this if he loses his appeal. But he has to find a company willing to do that, and typically he'll end up putting enough assets up to that company to guarantee that, if that makes sense. So he's got to go secure 350, 400 million, whatever it is, from a third-party company by signing away property, cash, whatever, and they'll say, yeah, we will guarantee it to the court. So no money will actually change hands until I think Donald Trump loses his appeal, and then the court says pay up.
Well, back to Mr. Wonderful's point, they are turning New York into a flyover state. I think that's probably an exaggeration, but I know it's an expression, but it is unbelievable, in my opinion, to see what the local government is doing to the state of New York and like Oakland and San Francisco and Los Angeles and Seattle and Portland. I'm trying to think of other cities, major cities. It's unbelievable what's happening in those places. The homelessness, the crime, the drugs,
You're saying Democrat-run states.
I don't know. Are they all Democrat?
Or places.
It seems like it. I'm trying to think of Republican ones that are just going down the shitter. Chicago is obviously Democratic, right? Mm-hmm. Detroit has typically been Democratic. I don't know, and maybe I'm just totally off my rocker on this, but it is depressing. San Francisco used to be one of the greatest cities on the whole planet, and now it's like, it's like a litter box.
Kevin O'Leary was actually, I heard a different interview where he was talking about the same exact thing, and he was a lot more kind in this one. He basically said, New York is a loser state. I will never invest there ever again. California, loser state. And he just listed these different places. And he basically was pleading for in business people to jump ship if you're involved in New York or California, these states where they're just trying to penalize people who are there for for business and to do their regular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I see their motivation, like Tyler was saying, and I'm not saying I agree with this, but their motivation is Trump is pretty much Hitler.
Yeah, whatever it takes.
We got to do whatever it takes to get rid of Hitler, obviously. And
Right.
for me, it's like, well, if he was Hitler, we would just charge him with a crime and arrest him, which they
Have tried to do.
and
They haven't found him guilty for anything.
and we're going to talk about that next. So the other case that was going against him was this January 6th case, which we've talked about several times, but it's
The big
not,
I word.
it's not a charge of insurrection.
What?
It's a charge of, what did I say it was before?
Bad social media pictures.
No, it's like obstructing an official proceeding and attempting to defraud the United States, something like that.
Cool.
So the Supreme Court apparently just put that case on ice indefinitely. Or apparently they're going to hear arguments in April. Anyway, what they're saying in a nutshell is that because of what the Supreme Court just did, that case will never go through before the election. And which is obviously everyone's intent with all these cases, right? It's like Election Day. If Election Day were passed and done, none of these cases would be going because Trump would be too old to run again in 4 more years. And, well, hopefully. And
No, it's going to happen. The calendar's not changing, no matter what the outcome is.
yeah. So anyway, that case was just put on hold, which again, I don't know that was that strong of a case either. Well, maybe they could say he's attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. I just don't know how serious that is. Like, doesn't that happen all the time? Don't protesters go into town hall meetings or
Block traffic outside of it.
or even into Congress while they're debating and shout things and people obstruct official proceedings all the time.
Yeah.
And so you could argue that Trump held a big rally the day of January 6th and that turned into a mob that attacked the Capitol and he's responsible. Okay. And the result was they obstructed, like everyone had to leave for a couple hours and then they went back. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because then wouldn't everyone that was there that day be also guilty of that?
Yeah, I guess. Except for people just standing there waving a flag, which I think was the majority of the people. I think they've actually charged about 1,000 people, which I can't remember how many were there, but it was way more than that. Yeah. And most of them were charged with
poor outfits.
Little things. Poor
outfits.
outfits.
Fashion police.
Immodesty. Things like that. No.
Indecent exposure.
But there were a handful that were charged with more serious crimes. And even some that were charged with actual insurrection. I think when I read about those cases, my impression was that they're like the town idiots that are like, oh yeah, let's go do this. Let's go rob a bank and pull up to the bank and oh, I'm too tired. And then getting charged.
How many of those people do you know?
Well, just like thinking of us as teenagers, sometimes we would be hyperbolic, but not really intend to do something. And that's kind of like they said this one guy had guns in his car
Okay.
And the car was parked like outside the event, so he could have brought the guns in. I'm like, yeah, but he didn't. So they might have been on the internet like, let's go do this. Yeah. And then smartly didn't pull guns out of their car, but they still got charged anyway. I'm not trying to defend these guys, but it did come off as like being hyperbolic on the internet and saying stupid things on the internet, and then they got canned for it. And, you know, if you're dumb enough to say, let's storm the Capitol, then you're in jail. You're an idiot. Whether it was like in jest or whether it was just blowing smoke or whatever it was, because it obviously riled up some people to actually commit crimes, break glass, break and enter, destroy property, assault police officers, and all that.
Yeah. It is, I'm so sick of it. How many years ago was that now? 4?
3
3 years
three
ago?
and a half, something like that.
Yeah.
We'll hear about it forever, I think. And it sucked. Some people died. Some police officers died. One, I think she was an Army veteran, was shot and killed, and she was an idiot.
She's the only one that really died. The other guys died. Anyway, we've been through this a million times. Mike's calling.
What's up, Mike?
I'm calling you back.
Oh, yeah. We're just sitting here podcasting without you.
Oh.
Do you have power? Do you have power, Mike?
Do I have power?
Yeah.
Like the power of influence.
Do my lights turn on?
Yeah, do your lights turn on?
Priesthood power.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. We're up here in the studio and all the power went out, so we're recording on my laptop.
Nice.
So, wish you were here.
Me too.
By Pink Floyd.
Yeah. We were just talking about the January 6th insurrection, and we're wondering what you thought about it.
Oh, I didn't like it.
Oh. Well, in particular, we're talking about this case against Trump, and what's he doing?
Orange Man.
No.
What is Trump doing?
No, what's the case we were just talking about?
I don't know.
Well, the Supreme Court froze the...
Oh, yeah, froze the case because they have a case against him for obstructing an official proceeding and attempting to defraud the United States. What do you think, Mike?
I actually don't know that much about it these days because I don't follow it anymore.
Oh, all right.
But I think
you're smart,
I think
Mike.
that they should just lay out the evidence, and then we don't know a lot of the stuff, and the courts know, and just whatever happens, happens.
That sounds like sound advice.
Yeah. What do you think about the wind blowing?
Just it'll blow, and the seeds will grow, and the bees will buzz.
Do you remember when we were kids and there was that like crazy windstorm that came through AF?
1995.
Was it 95?
Yeah.
So I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and I was watching out the front window and then watched one of our huge spruce trees fall over onto our house, and the whole house like shook.
That's funny.
You were in the apartment, the duplex then.
Yeah,
right?
that you used to live in.
So in that year, because my dad gets ready for the end of the world every day, and so we had the cops come over to our house because if you remember, we lost power for overnight, I think.
Oh,
maybe
yeah?
later. And the cops came to our house. Or no, the fire department came to our house and they knocked on the door and they're like, we're trying to figure out what's going on here because you're the only house with power. My dad had generators going in the back and it was like, we're like watching TV. And no one else has no street lights.
Cooking
Nobody else has
pizza
power.
in the oven.
Yeah, he basically hooked it up to like some outlets in the heater, so we had heat. And anyway, yeah, it was really funny. It drew attention. I think it's a lot more common nowadays. People have generators and stuff, but yeah, back then I guess it wasn't that big. It wasn't that common.
Your dad's so nice, though.
He's not,
Like, what's he gonna do when it really gets bad and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Jerry's."
He'll shoot you.
Oh, he's got guns up there? Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know.
He'll do the
you don't know?
the murder.
He'll do the murder.
I was just wondering that about some preppers. I just can't see Jerry shooting people. But
My dad
maybe he
used to
will.
take me shooting like out on the West Desert, and he would ask me while I'm shooting targets, if that was somebody, could you kill him?
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I don't know.
I literally have a memory of Phil telling me that same thing.
That's because my dad always said that to me. every time we went out shooting, even when it was like when he was bishop and it was like a priest quorum activity, he'd be like, so if a whole army of people are coming to steal your food storage, can you shoot them? And that's what we all
Can you,
thought.
or like, would you? Like, legally? Can you?
No.
No.
It wasn't a legal advice
Yeah,
question.
it was like, are you mentally
capable of
and
doing
morally prepared to shoot people to defend your family's like stockpile?
Dude, my dad would go further. He'd be like, if they were coming to rape your wife and children. And I'm like, Jesus, Dad. Yeah, I guess. I'm like not even dating yet. He's 12.
What is a wife?
Like, I can't even get a date.
Yeah. So,
I didn't have my driver's license yet.
do you guys have a bunch of food storage?
Yeah, it's at my dad's house.
We do. We do.
You do have a bunch?
Yeah.
Like, how long could you live if everything shut
And what's
down
your
tomorrow?
address?
Food storage we have right now.
Like, what if a nuke went off and they're like, nobody can go outside or you'll get cancer and die. You have to stay inside. Like, how long can you last?
We could probably go a couple months off what we have.
Like 2 months, you
Yeah.
think?
2 or 3 months.
But that's also relying on the fact that you have 5 dogs, right? That you can eat.
Yeah, the
Yeah, could
dogs
you-
would give us another few weeks.
Yeah, could you, like, how long could you feed your dogs?
Well, we just got a shipment of dog food from Amazon, so a month.
You could feed them
Did
for
you
a
say
month.
feed off your dogs or feed your dogs?
Well, that's what Jeff was saying. Yeah, the dogs would give us about 3 weeks worth of food.
3 weeks? You could stretch a dog longer than that.
Family of 5 on 2 medium-sized dogs.
No,
Yeah.
take note.
Only if you have a generator.
Guys,
Yeah.
take note. Phil's the only one
have a
here
car.
who's eating a dog.
Can use
So,
you can
Phil,
use a car as a generator.
how long can you get a Cocker Spaniel to last?
What are those, the little ones?
I don't know, 30 pounds?
Yeah.
I bet you could get it last couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
And I'm thinking of living like, because my food storage is like Filipino food storage.
Just
it's like
rice?
buckets of rice, and then like in the Philippines you eat like a cup and a half of rice with like 2 tablespoons of what they called their sudan, which is like some meat and soup or something that you like sprinkle over the rice.
Yeah.
So I could last a couple months like Filipino style, I think.
Okay.
And so yeah, a dog. You could like jerky that thing up and then mix the jerky in with your little soup.
I think my dog would be too
I had
tough.
boshintang or dog soup on my mission.
Dog soup?
Yeah.
Is that relating to, is it dog soup because there's dog in it or because
Dog
someone
meat.
really ugly made
It has
it?
dog meat
Oh.
in it.
You had dog too then? Mm-hmm. I don't even know you guys.
Just once. It was, I mean, it was kind of like a beef.
Mike,
flavor.
how much dog do they eat in Southern California?
Listen, the In and Out, some of the locations. You don't know if it's dog or not.
He went to NorCal, though.
Oh, you were at NorCal?
Yeah, it was
Oh.
NorCal. But, like, I mean, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to get in trouble for saying it.
Probably.
It's the same place, but it's not, like, it's not as hot.
Oh,
That's the only difference.
Yeah.
Southern and Northern California.
Yeah, it's all Cali.
That's funny. I was just saying how sad Northern California is. Like, San Francisco used to be an incredible place, and now it's just a litter box, it seems.
Yeah. Jeff
It does
was.
seem that way.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not as bad as what people are saying, but
Well, it never is. Yeah.
Where?
Yeah,
San Francisco.
the pundits, the
I
pundits will
barely
point out the
consider
worst
San Francisco
parts.
part of Northern California, though.
Oh, Jeff was just saying that San
central.
Francisco is like Somalia, pretty much. Like it's
Yeah.
the worst place in the world.
It's like Sudan. Or, like, that's not bad. I mean, what's the one that bearded guy ran in the 90s?
Bearded guy ran.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump, right? That's what I was thinking too.
No, never mind. I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now.
Where